Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Walaikum assalam, Asif.
How are you, sir?
I'm absolutely fine. What about you?
Alhamdulillah, sir. I'm really really good, and I feel like that I'm in heaven right now, sitting in front of you. and
It's all your love. So kind of you.
yes, sir. Thank you so much. First of all, sir, because obviously this is your channel, this is your students'
Thank you.
channel,
Thank you.
and
Thank you.
I want you to tell something because there is some audience which is obviously it's in English language. So you know that in English language it's a global language, it's an international
Okay.
language.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
can you please give a little bit introduction about yourself? Who are you and your background and everything?
Okay. I'm just a humble English language servant. In fact, I uh, started right after a while I was even educating myself. And I felt like teaching because I was strongly I was 100% sure that I would be able to teach some students. So I went further and I started. I made the beginning in 1996, most probably. That was the first time I started teaching English, and I did it successfully, very successfully, in one of the institutions in Gujar Khan. I still remember the name of the institution. There used to be youth computers in Gujar Khan. I taught there for not long time, uh, sometime maybe a year, for a
Right,
year
right.
or so, and I did it very well. And well, I then felt like doing it more and more, more and more, because there was a deep love of English language in my heart, and I wanted to explore the word, so I did it, and I just continued my journey.
So do you mind recalling one of institutions that I have been part of, Lexicon? Was that
Lexicon, I established it later on, maybe in the late 1990s
right,
somewhere.
right,
Okay, Lexicon was in fact the kind of institution where I made the beginning,
right,
uh, and I'm proud, so much proud. I feel proud to say that I was the first person to put up banners everywhere about spoken English, because that was the time when people knew nothing about spoken English language.
correct, correct,
People had least idea about spoken English.
right.
So most of the people were curious then, and they asked me a lot of questions about the institution and about the establishment of the institution. And I told them, and when I made the beginning, when I inaugurated the institution and started taking classes regularly on regular basis, uh, I'm very lucky that I had a mammoth response from students.
No doubt, undoubtedly, and you have been a legendary like all those because I still remember there used to be I think 20 or 20 plus in each class in terms of the
Yeah,
strength of the
yeah.
student, and at that time we couldn't think of any other institution except
Mm.
Lexicon in terms of spoken English. Whoever I asked which institution to go to, Lexicon was on the top of everyone's head. So, sir, my basic question is because you know spoken better than anyone in terms of Gujar Khan's locality. So obviously there is a hell lot of following in Gujar Khan of this particular channel. So people are really really confused when it comes to spoken English. Is spoken English is something what we read in textbooks, or is spoken English is completely different thing?
Well, a spoken English language to me is quite different, and unfortunately, the way it's being taught is quite different.
Right,
Most of the teachers, because they're not conversant with, in fact, English language,
right,
so they just go on using some strange ways, odd ways, and odd ways to
right,
teach the
right.
students, and that's the very reason students still don't believe in English language. To some teachers, teaching English language necessitates teaching tenses and tenses and tenses. And as a result, it happens so that students don't believe, don't rely upon such teachers. In fact, spoken English, to me, or in true terms, spoken English language is the language which is spoken, which is learned by speaking. One has to be expressive in terms of learning English
Yes,
language. So teaching English language is a really uh, hard job because uh, very few there are few teachers who know about the reality of English language,
yes.
how or what is in fact English language,
So
how it
do,
is conveyed.
yes, I just want to probe here because I feel
Uh-huh.
the thing is that there's a speaker who speaks English
Uh-huh.
after
Yes.
studying English, and there is a
Uh,
speaker who just speaks English just because he has lived abroad, and he doesn't know anything about textbooks.
there is English language is not the name of just speaking and speaking
Right,
aimlessly. It is the name of getting along with set of rules and
right,
regulations. Unless one understands set of rules, one can't understand the true gist of English language.
right,
In order to understand English language is beautiful language. In fact, there are two kinds of language. One that is which is called street language, that is commonly spoken everywhere.
right,
Every rank and file can speak that language. But the language which is for the people, those who are educated ones or those feel comfortable, I mean, educated, very educated people.
right,
And such a language is called true language. And in order to understand that very language, one has to study and one has to understand
right,
some set of rules. And plus, pronunciation and everything, there is another field. Okay,
right.
one has to understand that very, the right pronunciation should be there. Most of the people make mistakes in pronunciation and linguists and
Exactly,
many other
right.
and such areas.
So, do you
These are the
think?
areas.
Got it, sir. Got it, sir. I have been privileged to learn, being trained how to adapt accent of English language from
Mhm.
you. So, do
Yeah.
you think accent is actually a mandatory when it comes to speaking English?
English is absolutely mandatory because without accent, English, many people here in Pakistan or India speak English in their own accent. Like people living in Punjabi speak Punjabi and they speak English in Punjabi accent. People living in Potwari speak Potwari. Okay, and many people speak
Right.
English in
On
their
accent,
accent,
the
in
local
their
accent.
own local accent,
Correct, sir.
local version.
Yes, sir.
But English has got nothing to do with it.
Yes.
English is a beautiful language, should be spoken accordingly.
Right.
Accordingly, like English should be spoken in English way. It is the language of English people. It should be spoken and understood accordingly.
Right.
It
Right.
shouldn't be used or it shouldn't be spoken in an accent which has got nothing to do with English.
Correct. Correct. Got it, sir. Sir, I think there is a bit which is left because I'm following your answers very keenly. Uh, do you think written English is different from spoken English, or is somehow similar to each other?
Written English, in fact, uh, English is, as I've told you, it's the name of set of rules.
Right, right,
In If you see Oxford University courses, if you see many other big university courses, those who have formed books, made books, or English language or generally English language is taught or spoken English is taught on the basis of set of rules, as I've told you, through books
right,
and through
right,
material. These books give you an idea that English language does have a level.
right,
One who is well conversant with typical grammar. I mean, I don't mean grammar like the conventional grammar,
right,
old
right,
methods of grammar. No, I
right,
don't. I don't say yes to them. I mean grammar that makes English language beautiful.
right,
Grammar that beautifies the language.
right, right,
Okay, this grammar is strong part of English language. If your grammar is good, you can speak English language without any doubt. Your English language would be more beautiful.
Right.
Like if we take an example of common tenses, tenses give you just direction. Many people are of the view that just tenses give you help, a lot of help. Speak English language. Tenses help you understand the direction, present, past, and future, and
Right.
not more than that. As far as other methods are concerned, other lessons are concerned, some grammar areas are concerned, which are they're very important. If one is conversant with these set of rules, one can write in a better way
Right.
because better speaking goes hand in hand with better writing.
Right.
So these ideas must intermingle.
Intermingle.
They get together.
Right.
Without this, no.
This would not
Because
be.
beautiful English, let me repeat, beautiful English can be spoken, or well English, better English can be spoken and understood with better rules.
Right.
Writing, like you can take an example of reading, writing, speaking in English.
Yes.
Like there are four skills of IELTS,
Yes.
IELTS.
Correct.
Okay, they go hand in hand with each other. In
Right.
the same manner, spoken English language is not other than that. To me, spoken English language is not anything which is vulgar, which doesn't make any sense,
Correct.
which is other than set of rules. No, it isn't so. It does go with set of rules. It must go hand in hand with, with writing and speaking and
Correct.
all that,
Yes.
all these areas.
Let's talk about a little bit technical aspects, because obviously you have explained very beautifully the general aspect of it. I want to understand the writing, because there are students, you might have come across definitely, who have really hard times developing English writing skills. They can communicate but they can't write. Is there any technique that they can improve their English writing skills?
Well, I don't see any reason if a person speaks English language dulcetly, perfectly, without any iota of doubt, he lacks in writing. No, it isn't so. If you see spoken English, what is spoken English? Your mind is replete with ideas. Your mind is replete with, you understand vocabulary very good, nicely. Your lexical sources are strong. You are very strong in, by all means. Then what is the reason that you lag behind in writing?
Right.
If your mind is stuffed with ideas, if your cup of mind is full with ideas, replete with ideas, I don't see any reason that you get unsuccessful or you become unsuccessful. A person who knows how to speak in a better way can understand English in a better way, can read and write as well.
Right.
So he is good at English language in many ways.
Right.
If a person doesn't understand, in fact, the true set of rules or the true ideas of speaking English, he can't write.
Right.
That means whatever he speaks without understanding. So he won't be able to write in a better way. In order to write in a better way, one has to be good at English language. One has to get along with the certain ideas, certain set of rules and regulations. Setting aside the set of rules and regulations, one can think about writing
Right.
or
Yes.
reading.
So there is a very, very, very important point that I picked here. You mentioned IELTS and you
Yeah.
mentioned speaking,
Hmm.
and there are examiners. Obviously, there is a speaking test in IELTS when you show
Hmm.
up for IELTS test. Sometimes I have heard several times from different students. You must have heard it too. That they say that when an examiner asked a question, we didn't understand what he said. So how should we respond in that particular position when we don't understand what he's saying? Because it's
Well,
a very intimate moment.
it's a matter of preparation. Uh, a well-prepared student never lags behind. He does understand. He does have a knack to understand everything. Whatever I mean, he knows how to grab words.
Right.
A person or a student must be prepared fully
Right.
or well prepared for IELTS test or whatever test, English proficiency test. is there.
Correct.
For example, if I've trained a student in speaking, for example, there are four skills: reading, writing, speaking, and listening, especially in Cambridge IELTS. Reading, writing, speaking, and listening. When it comes to speaking, all four skills need a lot of practice,
Correct.
a lot of practice. Our problem is that in our society, we live in a society, in such a society where English language doesn't exist at all.
Correct.
Here, people don't feel like speaking even Urdu.
True. True.
Okay, that is the language of this country.
Correct.
Okay, so what we say about English language? English goes far, far away. English language is spoken by either the British returned people or those who are coming from Western countries. Okay, most of the teachers living in our areas in Pakistan are unable to express themselves in a proper way. They make a lot of mistakes in terms of speaking, reading, understanding. Because I've had a lot of chances. I've had a lot of chances to teach teachers of different kinds, different level, different caliber, and I've really observed. So sorry to say, I've observed them making a lot of mistakes or horrible mistakes in reading, writing, speaking, and understanding. It is, I don't, I don't blame such teachers or such people for not having any knowledge. I, in fact, blame the system which keeps them away from understanding English language. That is part of the present time. That is considered one of the most important languages of the world and which should be spoken, which should be understood well. An educated person, especially when it comes to a teacher should be good enough. He should be strong enough to cope with all kinds of challenges. Unfortunately, in our colleges, in our schools, in other institutions, I visited a lot of such institutions where I've seen very strong teachers even lag behind in English language in terms of when it comes to speaking. They got taken aback. They felt like running away. They skip under one pretext or other.
Right. Right.
So this is something that I don't blame them for their whatever. The system is blamed. In fact, a person who has done masters in
Mm.
English language, I'm
Yes, sir.
sorry, in
Yes, sir.
English language, goes away from speaking, goes away from practice. He understands one big fact because he's a sitting teacher, so he's absolutely complete and he's got nothing to do with practice. My problem is that I'm the kind of teacher who's had an opportunity to teach in one of the biggest institutions in Rawalpindi. I don't talk, I do.
Right.
And I believe in doing perfectly and practically. So this is how it happens.
Sure. There are a couple of questions left
Yeah, sure.
from basically because this academy, this English language has become a business now. Obviously, you know that the way people are doing it, it's not the education itself anymore. So from students' point of view, because there are students I've seen, they have degrees in English, they have everything, but they're really not good at grammar at all. Do you think there is something which is lacking in our in English teaching, that they can't learn English grammar? Is it that difficult to learn English grammar?
One has to develop a mania. I've already told you so many times that I've taught my students while teaching. I delivered a lecture plenty of times teaching them what is mania. Mania is something that is the kind of emotions you must develop from inside. You have to be more curious to get to know about things. If you've done masters in English language and if you've got nothing to do with practice, masters is no problem at all. I can challenge most of the teachers that doing masters is no problem at all. Masters can be done just by remembering maybe few books.
Right.
Okay, I can quote examples of some people
Memorizing
that
literature and stuff. Yes.
memorizing literature and stuff like that.
Yes, sir.
No problem. Some people are so much good in terms of cramming and memorization. Doing masters is nothing for them. I don't against the masters. I'm myself. I've done a lot of things
Right,
here. I
right,
don't. I'm not going to declare bragging about myself what I've done,
right.
but the thing is, I'm more practical. Something, execution is something, or practicality is something which really works, which works. If you've done masters and practically, if you've got nothing to do with, you know, English is the name of delving deep into the practice.
Correct.
The deeper you delve, the better teacher you become.
Right, right,
These are the ideas. Delving does mean, in order to scrutinize the knowledge, get more and more knowledge, become more and more conversant with English language, become more and more conversant with the ideas, with the diction, with English language by all means. And if you are having English upon you, I mean, you're a very good teacher. You can become a very good teacher, because having degree or piece of paper isn't good unless you're practically good. This is my gist.
right, right. One last bit of question.
Sure.
Uh, as per your experience, because there are courses in the market which are for 3 months, 6 months, 9 months for spoken English. When we talk about spoken English, do you think it actually requires a student to go through that 9 months course or 6 months course to be able to speak English, or it depends on person to person?
Okay. Well, there are many genius students. Like, I can give your example. You were one of my good genius students
Thank
who
you.
uh, improved his English language skills within a very short period of time. But one thing is that there is one has to keep his uh, liaison strong. Uh, I mean,
Focus, or maybe yes.
I mean, in terms of having links with English language, if you've done 3 months course, 6 months course, this is one of the most important things I'm going to explain
Sure.
to all my viewers and my students. Doing course is important. Okay, 3 months, 6 months, 7 months, 8 months, or whatever, whichever. The most important thing is to maintain your level. How can you maintain? After it is seen that most of the people show great enthusiasm when it comes to learning English language. After they've learned, after they've gone through the process, they just feel like leaving everything behind.
Correct.
They just forget everything. With the passage of time, there's a
They get the certificate, and
there's
yes.
certificate and they're off with
Yes,
it.
sir.
There's a euphoria that develops and it fizzles out with the passage of time. When it fizzles out, when it gets dissipated, now things are just cool. I mean, a
Interesting.
person remains perfect or perfectly all right as long as he stays glued to his practice. As long as he's good at practice, he's all right. The time he is no more glued to his practice, he dwindles. This is what I say. Even a person coming from Britain, or British returning person, American returning person, or any Western guy, if he comes here, spends some time here in the environment, existing environment in Pakistan, can't make claims to be perfect in English language, because English is there as long as he practice. English is there as long as he sticks to it. By the time, or English is there as long as he hangs on it. The time he leaves, he shits the practice, he comes to naught, he comes to zero, he dwindles within no time. So my message to students is that after doing the courses, whatever span of time is there, whatever, whether it's 3 months time, whether it's 6 months time, whether it is 12 months time, or whatever time span of time is there, all they need to do is they must stick to practice. Stick to practice, never leave practice. Leaving practice means to relinquish everything,
Right,
to be
right,
away from the practice you have already done.
right. Uh, By the way, is there any recipe to gain English, gain confidence in speaking English, or like I remember you advising me standing in front of a mirror
Yeah.
because I lacked confidence in the beginning of my course. So, are there any other tips that you can develop confidence? Because confidence and language goes hand in hand. You know that.
Yeah, the problem is this setup where we people are living, or we have been living, is not conducive. The thing is, I mean, the like in England, in America, in many other countries, English-speaking countries, people are very good at speaking English because there is their own language that becomes their own, that becomes their first language.
Right, right,
Okay, here, unfortunately, we people have don't have any chance, don't have any time
right.
to converse with with concerning people. We speak either Urdu, okay, or sometimes Punjabi, Potwari, or whatever the language is,
Right.
language which is spoken generally with whichever is our mother tongue generally.
Correct.
Uh, English is always there with environment. I've told you, with environment, with interest, like a teacher like myself. I'm not gonna brag myself that I do something else. You know what I do is really different because I keep myself always in an environment that is suitable and that is conducive to me because I'm a human being. Though good teacher, I've had an opportunity to teach one of the prominent educational institutions of Rawalpindi,
No
and it
doubt.
has really become hard for common teacher even to join the academies of Rawalpindi here. I've had this opportunity, and I asserted my point of view. I really proved it because I worked hard. I remained glued to my practice. I've been practicing. I still practice like a child, like a baby myself,
I have
and
seen
I
you,
feel like
sir.
practicing.
Yes, sir. Sir, one last message to our
Okay.
audience, because there are teachers who follow this YouTube channel and they want to learn how to teach English in a better way. Is there any way that they can improve their teaching
They,
skills?
yeah, teaching skills can be improved. Yes, by as I've already told my dear ones, those who are watching or those who are listening. In fact, teaching skills can be taught, can be learned. I mean, if interest is developed,
Right.
this is one of the most important things. Interest, without interest, nothing can be done. Nothing can be said here. Um, if you put some more words to it, because my attention was there and I
Sure.
forgot.
I just want to understand, because the thing is that you have come across many
Mm,
students
mm,
who said that we have met this teacher, we have an
mm,
honor
mm,
to
mm.
sit in front of this teacher in his classroom for 6 months, for 3 months, but after getting out of that class, after getting that certification, we couldn't get
Mm,
anything because that teacher was not communicating with us in English. He was only teaching us the textbook in
no,
front
no,
of
no, no,
him.
no, 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 not at all. I 100%. I'm against such ideas. I'm against such ideas. I don't feel that. I don't think that a teacher is supposed to do this. Teacher
Right.
is not supposed to do this. Teacher is not supposed to make the student sit and write on the board and write and write and be off with his face. It isn't so. If he really wants to do something, then he has to join the students together, provide them with better English language speaking environment, make them speak,
Empower
and
them. Yes,
plus
sir.
try to convey the proper ideas, give them better lessons. Language courses should be made, should be propagated, should be taught to students. Students should be put on track, on the right track. Just by, Viva is not going to help as long as there are some particular courses. One should introduce some particular courses in order to make students fluent in them without, because courses are important, things which give them guidelines. By studying the courses, by understanding the courses, students keep them on track. Viva is something, mm, speaking is something, or practicality is something that is important, okay, that really works. But two things are important: better courses and better interaction.
Correct.
These are the things.
I just want to, in the last, I want to say a few words if you don't mind. I think that you just told me, which is a great news. I feel very honored that you stepping back in Gujar Khan
Yeah,
because
Alhamdulillah.
Gujar Khan really needs you, and there are so many things which need improvement in Gujar Khan in English spoken sector. And what one last thing, because obviously you're coming back very soon, and we really need you. It's not just that you need Gujar Khan; it's vice versa. Gujar Khan needs you, and it's an
Thank
honor
you.
to be receiving you there. What exactly you're looking forward to impart in Gujar Khan after 20 years?
After 20 years, Gujar Khan is my own place. I love being there. In Rawalpindi, I've had an opportunity to teach a lot of people, even teachers, so all kinds of people, the way I taught in Gujar Khan. Again, I'm feeling that Gujar Khan really needs me. And Gujar Khan is not the same Gujar Khan I left 20 years ago, because there is a lot of development around, and many new colonies, housing projects, housing schemes. Plus, there is my living place even.
And there is more awareness now, sir. I
More
think
awareness than
than 20
before,
years, yes.
than 20 years ago. And the institution which I'm gonna
Target, yes, sir.
yeah, target is that there is Cambridge Academy. There
Right,
is
right,
Cambridge Academy, and it's going to gain very strong status
right.
in Gujar
Is it
Khan.
some sort of like what you call it? Are you getting a branch of that particular institute in Gujar Khan, or is it your own?
No, 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 no. It's going to be my own institution. I'm going to step over there.
Right,
I'm going to stay there. This is my own residence. I
right,
will stay here. Obviously, I do stay here. I'm sorry.
right.
But the thing is, in order to set up my institutions, I have to move from here to there.
Correct.
And I've started my groundwork here. Good news for my students that I've started my groundwork. Let me say again, groundwork. Very shortly. I'm coming to Gujar Khan. I'm going to kick off my my rest of work over there. I will contact my old students, and I'm really very happy that one of my promising students, Hasib, is here, and very happy because he's here at
I'm humble.
at my own residence, and he's I'm in doing a lot of tasks, which really pleases me.
Sure. Thank
I'm
you.
really thankful to
Thank
you, Hasib.
thank you so much,
It's
sir.
been really good to see you. Nice meeting you, really.
It's a privilege, sir. It's an honor. Yeah, I've learned so much. I mean, in terms of, obviously there are things that you have imparted here in Rawalpindi, and I'm pretty sure there are people who have been in your company over here must have been very lucky to have you here, and as well as there are going to be many more people in Gujar Khan who are going to learn from you in terms of
Inshallah.
inshallah, and looking forward to seeing you back in Gujar Khan, sir. Thank you so much.
Inshallah. Very soon I'll be there. Very
Inshallah.
soon I'll be there, and when the time I'm there, I'll surely invite you and
Inshallah.
all other people
I'll be
concerned.
honored, sir. I'll be honored. Thank you
Thank you,
so much.
thank you so much.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so
Thank you for
much.
your time.